Welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, a podcast all about Tamworth Football Club. I'm Jonathan and I'm joined by Brett to discuss the draw versus Ebbsfleet on Saturday, the away trip to Oldham and much more. It was a 1-1 draw then, Brett, at home to Ebbsfleet at the weekend. I think although all three of us did predict a win for Tamworth, it still had that kind of sense of a game that would be much tougher than it looked looking at the league table.
Yeah, I think it's a good point on the back of the Huddersfield game and, riding that high wave. I'd have been happy with the point going into that. I mean, imagine the players are probably absolutely knackered as well, like the emotion that must have gone into Friday. And then let's remember we had the Newcastle game as well in between. It's no rest for them. So I actually think that a draw, given the fact that we're in the middle of this FA Cup, and you look at the squad that's actually available now with all those injuries, it's a fair result.
Ebbsfleet as well had the benefit of a week without a game. So when the weekend Tamworth had the FA Cup game, Ebbsfleet didn't have a game. So it's, I suppose, extra recovery time, if you want to call it that, for them. And they also came into that game off the back of a very good result against Wealdstone when they came from 2-0 down to draw 2-2. So there's a little bit of momentum there for them coming into the game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ebbsfleet would have, again, watched us, trained, would have come into the game with the game plan, probably executed it well. There's no shame in a team setting up to play a certain way and then they play that particular game well. I don't mean to say that we played badly, even if it wasn't a great performance by us. It doesn't mean to say that all of a sudden the wheels have fallen off. I think people need to just calm down a little bit, really, because I just think it could. We don't want it to spoil what's already a brilliant season for us.
Looking back to the Huddersfield victory then, Brett, we did do an immediate reaction episode the day after, so I'd urge anyone who's not already listened to that to go and check that one out. I have to say, Brett, that's possibly the most emotional I've heard you about a Tamworth win. How are you feeling now you've had, a week or two to kind of digest it all a bit more?
It was the way we went about it for me, which was just so... I don't know what the word is. So that made me so overcome, if you like. When we nearly went 2-0 just after half time as well, shades of Hartlepool away. I just think there's so many parallels that you can draw between now and when I first started going when I was a kid. It's just great. Yeah, I think on reflection, it seems like it was ages ago now. It seems like it was much longer than just a couple of weeks. But still stand by the fact it was a brilliant achievement and that the club just continues to prove everyone wrong, put the town on the map, unite the town. Every single one of those players just did themselves proud. And I mean, not just the players, it's everyone else as well involved in the club, the day-to-day running of it, getting it organised, getting it on ready, that quick turnaround. I was looking back through pictures when we played Bristol City in the FA Cup second round 11 years before. And obviously, the pitch was grass then, and now it's obviously 3G. And you look, and actually, loads hasn't changed on the face, actually, of if you're a fair weather fan and you went against Bristol and then come down again for that game and hadn't really been much in between, you wouldn't think loads had really changed. But actually, the transformation of the club from the back and all the way through in the last, let's be honest, the last 3 years, massive. And that just epitomises all the changes and the progress and the forward movement that the club's been on. So, still immensely proud. Still don't feel quite real either.
Thought as well, Huddersfield, you could say it was almost like a classic Tamworth display. Like, obviously the long throws, which, were a feature of the game. But creating opportunities when Tamworth had momentum. But then, Tamworth were sort of quite clever with how they attacked and went forward. But then at the same time, like, shades of the defence from last season, like the organisation and Jazz Singh being like Superman in that goal at times. Like I think you said, Brett, he just, was saving everything that Huddersfield threw at him.
Yeah, and I watched it back on the TV as well a couple of days after, and it looks just as good on the telly as it did when you were there as well. A couple of days later as well, you forget a couple of the passages of play, so it's good to refresh yourself on it. I might watch it another 10 times before we play Burton, just to really get myself ready for the game.
Get some positive vibes. What are your thoughts then, Brett, on the Burton Albion draw? Because I think our group chat was full of excitement, wasn't it, when that was confirmed?
I don't think you could have got a better draw if we picked the draw ourselves. I don't know if it could have got any better, really. So much riding on it. Proper Staffordshire derby. But if ever there's a cup tie that says upset, it is that. And I'm expecting us to take 1,400 with us, absolutely pack out the away end. Proper Staffordshire derby. Really looking forward to it. And I'm just shocked it hasn't been picked for the TV. I know we were on for round one, but that's a big game. I know we've got extended highlights, but...
Do you see this game as more winnable than the Huddersfield game? Because I think being away from home does sort of slightly change things.
Yeah, probably not, because it's away from home. Like, you take the form out of it anyway. Form counts for nothing in the cup, does it? They will want to beat us probably more than we want to beat them, because they will not want to lose to us, for one, and then to lose to us in what would be a huge cup upset for them. And that would really just put a downer on their start to the season as well then. If we were to play Nuneaton in the trophy, and for whatever reason Nuneaton somehow ended up beating us, it would be the exact same. You just would not want that to happen. You don't want it to happen anyway, because it's a rival, but you don't want it to happen in that circumstances. And for all those Burton fans who probably started going down watching them since they've been in the league or whatever, well, they wouldn't have experienced what this rivalry can be like.
We'll move on to the Oldham Athletic game on Saturday then. I would say, Brett, this is probably the match that most captured my imagination when the fixtures were released in the summer. Like, it feels like it's got the most wow factor, probably because they are an ex-Premier League team. But I think they are a massive club at this level. Yeah,
massively. I think they've obviously been really struggling over the last, 10 years, maybe. Probably really since I've been into football, they've been on a really slow decline. And I have been to Boundary Park as well many years ago. But yeah, I mean, I would have thought we'd ever be playing Oldham in the league. So, great occasion. And, it's a real historic ground with a historic team, and it will be a great day for Oldham, I'm sure.
Do you know, a little bit of a quiz question for you. So, Oldham, their last season in the Premier League was 93-94. Do you know where Tamworth finished and what league they were in that season?
They were in the Bees Around Midland League. Was that the year that they won it, maybe?
I won't tell you the answer to that. Where do you think they finished? And then I'll give you the full answer.
I think they probably finished 7th or 8th.
They finished 7th. Very good. So they finished 7th in the Southern Midland Division. And I make it as well the first time Tamworth have played a former Premier League club in a league game. So it's just another sort of extra layer of, interest, I think, for me in this game as well. They go into this game off the back of a 0-0 draw away at Barnet, which is a pretty good result, actually, because I think they are top of the home form league, Barnet. So it's a little bit of a daunting task, I'd say, Brett.
Yeah, and one of their players got the, I don't know if you've seen it, Fondop. He won the Van Ondor.
Explain a little bit what that is. I did see that.
So just the Vanarama's take on the Ballon d'Or. I think it's just the player of the year for the National League. It's obviously just a bit of fun. But I mean, again, obviously someone's voted for that somewhere. They have got some decent players as well. They've got a few players. Well, probably that whole 11 will probably cause us a lot of headaches. But it's about going there and just doing what Tamworth do best.
I wonder if Oldham will have done their homework in the same way Barnet did in terms of like trying to stop the long throw. Because when we spoke to Andy Peaks, I thought that was, one of the very interesting things he said. And it's sort of looking back at the Barnet game, it does sort of make sense now. Like, I don't remember them really giving away any throw-ins in like a dangerous position. So I'd be amazed if Oldham haven't done something sort of similar in their prep.
Yeah, I think really, considering we've got the the 2 full sessions this week to train, I think they'll probably do well really with probably trying to mix that up a little bit. If it obviously didn't go our way how we wanted it to against Ebbsfleet, then we'd probably do well to try and mix that up a little bit, at least to start with. Because I think if we go in there and play like how we like to play every single week, I think we could get found out within the first 5 minutes. And look what happened against Barnet. And I think if we play it wrong, could be another kind of result like that, which if you did come away from it, and it wouldn't be a huge surprise. I mean, it would, because you never settle for a game to lose 7-0, do you? But, you go, well, it's Oldham. But you'd have to watch what damage that then does long term. Like we said last time it happened against Barnet, only the difference is we've got some really big games coming up in between after Oldham. You've then got to pick yourself up and get some kind of positive result against Dagenham, which we'd need to really. And then obviously we've got Burton, but then we're going into such a difficult December. Obviously we were talking about it earlier on off air. December month is so hard.
Yeah, I'm just looking through now. And I suppose as well it's the unknown if the FA Cup run continues after the Burton tie as well. That's just another thing that the squad's got to contend with, and I think FA Trophy will be starting quite soon as well.
Yeah, exactly. Again, and really, it's one of them. Like, I would love us to have a really good run in the trophy, but more games.
It's time for our Oldham predictions, and a reminder, in our predictions mini league, 1 point for a correct result, 3 points for a correct scoreline. None of us predicted a Tamworth draw against Ebbsfleet, means I stay on 21 points. Graham's on 11, Brett is on 8. Bit of ground to make up still.
Go on, Reds.
As Graham hasn't joined us this episode, we'll tweet out our predictions before the Oldham game. But Brett, what are you going to go for Oldham away?
I am going to go for a 2-0 loss, because there's no shame if we turn up to Oldham and lose. We've really probably got some bigger fish to fry in the next couple of weeks. Really hard place to go to. We're ravaged still by injuries. So I'll go for a 2-0 loss and hope that I'm proved very wrong.
So I had written down a 2-0 loss, but because you've gone for the same, I feel obliged to maybe mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, give me a chance.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of pity maybe on you, Brett. So I will go 3-0 loss. I know this is not making for very positive listening, but probably it's similar reasons to you, Brett, really. I just think this is one of the biggest clubs in the division. Clearly going very well among the playoff mix as well. Looking at the home form table or home league table for the National League, Oldham are actually on the same amount of points as Tamworth for home results, which I thought was quite interesting. But it has a sort of whiff of like how I felt pre-York and pre-Barnet, I think. Although I think I might have predicted Tamworth to pick up something from Barnet. Can't quite remember. But you know what I mean? It just has that same sort of feeling, like if this was at the Lamb, I think my feeling would be totally different. I'd be probably thinking Tamworth can get something, but yeah. But like you say, no shame at all if Tamworth do go there and lose, and I'm very much looking forward to it as an away day, I have to say. we'll leave it there for this episode of the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Thank you very much for listening. You can follow us on social media. We're at TFC Social Pod. If you enjoy the podcast, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this episode a like. It really helps us grow our audience. Until next time, goodbye.